call to order the July 17th, 2025 Village Board meeting. Roll call shows all trustees are present. All staff is present except for Jane. She is excused, and Lauren is in her place, and our attorney is also present. 4 agenda changes. Okay. 5 consent agenda. A, June 19th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes. A and B is June 19th, 2025 cow minutes. C, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. If there are no questions, we would need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept consent agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call. Jim?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. None. Okay. 7, committee reports. A, library board. Carrie?
Nothing since the last meeting. We meet on Monday.
Okay. 8, unfinished business from previous meetings. There is none. 9, new business. A, presentation on the 2024 audit with Hawk and Ash.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amber Ebert from Hawkins Ash, and I'll be going through the 2024 summary financials. So to start, this year we issued an unmodified audit opinion, which is the best opinion for an audit. And then the financial statements present fairly and are materially correct. This year for adjusting journal entries, we had 36, and last year there were 38. So to improvement, which is what we like to see. Every year we recommend that 1 or 2 journal entries that we were given, they were received last year are attempted this year. So that was the case this year, is that 2 of them from last year were not corrected. For the communication with those charged with governance and management advisory comments, so of those 36 entries, 12 of them were material. These were related to property tax roll, special assessments, deferred revenue, capital outlay, depreciation expense, accumulated depreciation, due tos and froms, transfers, cash, equity, long-term debt proceeds, unearned revenue, principal and interest, lease receivable, and lease deferred inflow. And honestly, a good chunk of those are ones that the village will always have, because they're ones that we don't really recommend the village prepares, just because it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what will change. So it's something that we, as auditors, just prefer to do. And then this year there were 12 management advisory comments. These are the exact same ones as last year, except there was one resolved from last year, which was the GASB 101, which was for compensated absences. So that has been resolved this year. For the general fund, this year the assigned fund balance decreased about $5,400, sitting at $475,000, and the unassigned decreased $313,000, sitting at $96,000, for an overall fund balance of $571,000. Total expenditures for the year were $2.6 million, which leaves the unassigned as a percent of expenditures 4%, and we like to see roughly 17%. Obviously, it's not always, doesn't always happen, but 17% would basically mean 2 months worth of expenditures were covered by fund balance if revenue were to be cut off. And then overall, the general fund had a net change of $318,000. This was more so related to transfers that the general fund has, so that was kind of what made the fund balance decrease. For the general fund revenues, the top 3 categories are taxes at 42% of revenues, intergovernmental at 31%, and then public charges for services at 13%. And then for the expenditures, public safety at 41%, public works at 20%, and then it was tied for 3rd place between the general government and other financing uses at 16%. And then just to quickly go over the other fund balances, the debt service fund had decreased about $8,100 for principal and interest payments. This is just your typical principal and interest payments, so nothing to be concerned with there. For the special revenue funds, the housing and neighborhood conservation, which is restricted, is the same as last year. The Wisconsin Development Fund grant increased about $153,000 from last year, sitting at $164,000. The American Rescue Grant is now unassigned instead of restricted. So this is now sitting at a $152,000 negative fund balance. The subdivision park fees increased $2,500, sitting at $54,000. And then for the assigned fund balance is the library fund. This increased about $33,000 from last year. And then for the capital projects, the TID 6 is now assigned instead of unassigned. So this is now sitting at $9,200. And then for the unassigned fund balances, TID 3 is at $196,000 negative, TID 4 a negative $112,000, and TID 5 negative $22,000. And then lastly, the proprietary fund balances for the net investment in capital assets increased about $498,000. So this is kind of a mix of the capital assets along with any debt for those two funds. And then the restricted for debt retirement increased $15,000. The replacement increased $40,000. Unrestricted decreased $337,000, but overall the total fund balance increased $216,000. But otherwise, that's all I have. Any questions?
Anyone have questions? No?
Thank you. And I just want to thank you on behalf of Hawkins Ash for allowing us to be your auditor again.
Okay, we will move to B, discussion and possible action on Memorial Square design.
Okay, so this had the initial engineering plans in the packet. I also put in front of you just kind of a schematic, which is kind of easier to see than the engineering drawings. It's basically the same concept as we already looked at and approved in at a board meeting. The only thing that really changed is the location of the sails, and MSA actually did, if I'm not mistaken, shade study to kind of get the optimum location of where those shade sails could be based on where the buildings are and how the sun aligns to it. Dan Rammer from MSA is here if you have any questions, but there's a couple decisions that we wanted to bring to the board. Get your input on. The first would be the concept or design for the entry gateway. Pull those up, but there's 3 different ones. And just would kind of like some board input if one of these 3 strikes you better.
I would say these 3 are just examples that we have found or you know thought would be relevant to the concept. Obviously, you know, one of the decisions is trying to figure out what exactly goes on it. Are you just putting Hortonville on it or things like that? But I guess if there's something that you guys are like, wow, I really like how this one looks, that points us in the right direction as far as trying to get somebody on board and provide a cost and estimate and stuff like that. So if there's one that the board likes more than the rest, that would be very helpful, I guess.
How tall is it?
Undecided at this point.
So Hortonville's kind of a big word, right?
Yep.
And because you guys have all heard me ask this question about the lights, there's no way that somebody could jump up and hang from it with their hands.
I would say it would probably be 12 to 14 feet in the
You
air,
will
something like
ask the
that.
question.
I mean, if somebody really wanted to, could they get on it and
Yeah.
hang from it? Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, at 12 feet, you're talking 2 feet higher than a basketball hoop.
Okay.
So,
That helps.
obviously, the higher you go, the more cost there is associated to it. So, if that's a concern, we can certainly keep that in mind and make sure that it's addressed. But
I think letter-wise, I was concerned about that too for it fitting. I did notice when I went downtown the other day, Lawrence University has something similar,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to get Lawrence University in a walkway too. So I think we would have enough room to do something similar.
Just smaller, a little bit smaller letters.
Yeah,
Right. It's still visible,
yeah,
so.
no, and it was just my thought of like, then do you just like do more of a curve, what do you do, you know, but,
Yeah, and I think honestly what we would probably do is reach out, we've reached out to, I think it was Appleton Sign, and basically kind of started with, you know, some concepts or whatever, so we would really probably take their lead and say if we wanna put Hortonville, which is what, 11 letters or something like that, they would be able to size it, as long as you guys aren't like, we wanna put Village of Hortonville or Hortonville Polar Bears or something on there, you know, the more words, obviously, the price goes up and the letters get smaller and that type of thing. So if you're just looking for Hortonville, I don't have major concerns over that.
okay.
But
Other-
we can certainly, you know, get some buy-in from manufacturers and say, okay, the letters are gonna be 2 feet tall or they're gonna be whatever, so.
So the other question I had too, so I'm seeing like flagpole, landscape bed and all that, so there's like the first sample that says downtown something, and then there's like lights on either side. Is the intention is to have this be just like metal, or are we looking at possibly electrifying it for like backlighting behind like the word Hortonville, or so, I mean, is that an option for us to have that lit in some way?
Certainly, we were actually gonna have, electrical outlets on the backside of this. So like if you look at the one that's up on the screen right now, there's kinda like the pillars that go up. So we would try to build in, outlets on the backside of that, so there would be electricity going to it. We aren't gonna be doing, so don't look at the, like the street lights on each side there, cause we're not gonna be, as part of this project, we're not really doing any sort of site lighting. It'll be lit up from the downtown and that project, so focus specifically on the sign, but I would say that that is definitely a possibility if that is something that is desired.
Like the city of Hancock up in the UP has like, you come into Hancock and it has city of Hancock, but the lighting is behind the letters. And the
Mhm.
backlighting is very effective, it's soft enough that you can drive, you know. But if that's an option for this, I guess, and I don't know how you guys all feel, but I think these are really neat and stuff. But I think sometimes at night they become, especially if you've got a lot of dark metals and dark things. But I think it'd be kinda neat to have some kind of either backlighting or have lighting that would shine on it.
Yeah, we could look at either one of those options. I think backlighting would probably be easier, to do in this scenario. Basically, this is, I mean, if you look at the, kind of the site plan, we have this at like a 45 to the intersection because of traffic and what we call vision triangles, so it's basically when you pull up to the stop sign, so there, if you go one more page right there, you can kind of see the triangle on the top right
Mhm.
there. We basically have to stay out of there, because that is for, the travel, or the vehicles going through there, so you can kind of see the archway directly adjacent to that. So getting any sort of light that's gonna shine from the front of it onto it is gonna be a little bit tough,
Hard.
but we could do something maybe that's mounted up on top of it, shining at it or something like that. And again, those are all a little bit more details that we need to work on, but if lighting is a priority on that gateway or archway, we can certainly look into what that would take.
I guess it depends on where the streetlights are, and that I don't know, but,
And that's something that we are gonna try to coordinate. I actually was just gonna reach out to Aaron and say, you know, where are we at with the roadway design, because that's McMahon doing that, so, they've sent us a little bit of information, but, not a whole lot regarding this whole area right now. They were in preliminary talks preliminary design when I first talked.
It will all be illuminated, you know, like when she was in here, the lady from McMahon, they do a light study to make sure that the whole thing is lit all the way through, so.
Right.
and then that was when I was, like, thinking where the streetlights are, but is that illuminating down, you know what I mean, like, then what are you getting for that, how high that's, I guess maybe I'm kind of piling all my questions together, but,
I like the backlighting.
yeah, I like the
I
backlighting
think
idea.
that'd be
To me,
the
it's very
easiest.
soft, but it's very, because that corner now, at night, there's a light for the flagpole, and other than that, like, the fountain is fairly dark, but that's also behind a wall, and, yeah.
Yeah, and I think what you'll notice about this concept is it's gonna be a lot more open. You know, where it's much more inviting, especially from the intersection. Everything that's out there is all gonna be lower and or like, if you can see kind of the gray, not the dark gray areas, but basically kind of where that existing wall is gonna be like a landscaping bed, with plantings and stuff that are only gonna be, 2 feet tall, so there will be a lot more open feel to this. I feel like when you kind of walk in there right now, you kind of feel like you walk in and you're closed in a little bit from that, seating area and stuff like that, so there'll be much more open feel. I think there'll be a lot more just like ambient light, like we're talking about from, streetlights adjacent to this, so.
And if we
Would it
wanna
be-
put in lights after, there's, on the poles, there's light, outlets for that.
Okay.
Right, so we're planning on outlets basically at the top of all the shade structures, so that, I think what you guys were talking about was doing like the kind of string lights or whatever, so we can string them from structure to structure, but, one thing we are not doing is having any sort of like site lighting, so there's not gonna be any sort of decorative poles in here or anything like that. We're kinda use the roadway lighting, and if we do any sort of, like I said, the string lights or anything like that, that would be so it's not gonna be like eye-popping, like a spotlight on this thing, but it will be illuminated.
So would it be something like the high school? The high school is very awesome at night when it's lit.
It's like a backlit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Are we still gonna have the slits on the wall?
The
Black?
Schlitz.
Oh,
Flats?
It's black.
It's flats or slits or?
Flats.
what?
Yeah, I think it's blats. That's
So
private
the
property.
owner years ago talked to me and he said that if we ever had anything that we wanted to put up there, he'd be willing to allow us to do it. So if there wasn't a design that the board wanted to do, we could probably work with them to do it.
I'm just thinking it's $300,000, a big faded out. It's got character, I mean, it
It's
was
got some
there, but
character, and
it
the
doesn't
previous
match
board
with what,
built a
it
wall
doesn't
to
match
cover
with
it
any
up.
of this, it
Mhm.
doesn't.
It doesn't, and one of the things that does kind of match is actually the wall to the south there, it's a little bit more like modern looking. I can't remember exactly what it, the green and yellow.
The
and,
geometric change, yeah. Standard projects.
Yeah.
Yes, so I mean, I think that's an interesting like backdrop for that, and you're actually gonna see more of that when we're done with this. So again, it gives it some character, whether you guys want I guess that's a decision for you guys to make. As of right now, we aren't including anything in the project for that wall or mural or anything like that.
So are we just talking that banner right now, or are we talking the project in general?
just the banner.
Just the banner for right now, we'll,
Okay.
we can dive into other things. Or just the
Julie's got
partial.
another question. I like the backlit idea.
I do too. I like to see that as an option, just to find out what
Pricing,
it
it
would
might be
be.
crazy expensive, but
Right.
I think, especially if we put string lights up, I would hate for that string lights to kind of take away from, like when you're looking at that sign now, you've got, like metals, and I love the backlight idea. To me, it just, and the blacks thing, there's people in the community that love it, and there's people that hate it.
Right.
It's like, yeah.
I guess, do you sounds like we're kind of leaning towards what I'll call the first one, if you want to flip back to that quick, Nathan. Sounds like we're kind of looking at something like this, where it says the downtown Lewisburg. Do you so if you look on the right-hand side of what's up on the screen right now, see the tall pillars versus the short pillars? Is there a preference on something like that?
I guess whatever matches our lighting that we picked out, and looks like our lighting similarities here. Those big brick ones are kinda cool. But I bet you they're crazy expensive too.
Anything, the higher you go, the more you build
Yeah.
it, obviously the more expensive it gets, so, we can maybe do something in the middle, it really comes down to your guys' preference.
Problem with having me halfway, that becomes a step.
It
for
becomes a
somebody
step.
To
The
climb
minute
up
you-
and then hang up.
I know, I have seen some of the craziest things in that Memorial Square, and the way it is now is people still walk in like the scary space where if they fell, they'd fall down into the ramp. Even with the fencing up there.
So you need to vote on it tonight?
Not necessarily a vote, but we need a direction to go in for them.
I like the taller ones, but I'd also like to see an option of something very short, like something more that matches like the base of our street lights. So not necessarily brick, but more of that metal cuff. Am I calling it the right word?
I know what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the shroud that goes around the bottom of it, the
Stand,
The
right?
base?
Because I would imagine that the price point between those two would be very different.
yes.
I mean, I think the brick would actually probably look better. We have, granted, I'm not saying this tall, but in our ordinance, in downtown zoning
Mhm.
code, we require new building facades to have a layer of brick in there.
I
So
remember.
I think it would most likely kind of aesthetically go with that
I love the brick.
more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we could find a color to match or something down there. I mean, I don't know if you guys have certain requirements or anything like that,
No.
but I mean,
It's just brick is,
Earth tones is
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
I think yeah.
I mean, granted, this is like an 8-foot, 10-foot, pillar, which just seems excessive to me, but you could do something smaller.
Yeah. No, I love the brick. It's beautiful. But if we do brick, I'd want to go tall. Just so it doesn't become a step.
Tall brick?
Yeah.
Everyone's good? So we can move forward with that?
Yep, there's a couple other things. So
Okay.
there's a couple, tables and chairs, and bike racks, and then the shade structures and the poles. Do you have a color preference for those? Right now they're shown as blue, but you can see from the color charts, you have a lot of variety. The trash receptacles, you don't have to worry about, cause I think we're gonna try to reuse the ones that are there right now.
So what's the color, this color scheme in a downtown zoning, the ordinance is earth tones, correct?
No, it's classic Hortonville colors.
Classic Hortonville colors.
Well, I'm leery about red because it'll
Or
fade to
blue
pink.
or yellow.
yes, red is
So-
dangerous because we were even talking about doing, so there's like some colored concrete that we're planning in there, and we talked about red, and red
Turns
fades
pink.
to that pink salmon color
Yeah.
over time, so
So
I would tend to agree with you.
I would say for the shades though, they don't last that long
I'm,
either.
yeah, but
I don't
I'm
think
just
I
saying,
will blue.
I,
I kinda like the brownish color.
Charcoal gray, brownish,
Yeah,
something.
cause brown turns to tan and gray turns to light gray. It doesn't.
There's gonna be a lot of grays out here, and that's why we're trying to put some plants and stuff, because we got regular concrete, so whatever color you wanna call regular concrete, sometimes it starts white, fades to gray a little bit, and then there is, some squares or octagons that we're putting in that are going to be colored darker, a darker gray, I guess, not quite black, but like a charcoal gray or something like that, so, or at least that was kind of our goal for that stuff.
What color are the ones at the?
They're yellow, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like
That's really bright.
playground
green.
colors.
They're bright green.
What about, like, we went with lighting, we went with black for all of our lighting. I mean, what about a black bike rack, black tables? I mean, I'm not saying, I mean, I'm one of the red house, and I
I'm
love
black.
color.
Yeah.
I like the black idea just cause
Yeah,
it matches
clean.
with all of the lighting fixtures that we did.
I was gonna say hot in the sun, but I mean, it's,
with the, I guess with the table, I mean, is that gonna, what kind of material is it?
it's like that nylon, or not nylon, like that coated metal, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
where it's the, I don't remember exactly what the.
3 of the
Any
4 are
colors.
under shades.
Yeah,
Look great.
and anytime you will like color, that's open for graffiti.
I say black. What's everyone else say?
I like black. I like it black, just cause I have to, you know.
So
Black's
then-
good?
I think yellow.
You like yellow.
then we just need color for the poles and the shades.
All of it black or anything separate?
Well, I would say not the shades, I think that would
Right.
be, yeah, that would be.
We'll give
Draw
Jim his
heat,
yellow
green,
shades.
They were black.
Yellow shades?
Bumblebee.
What about tan? You know, like green, like the green color, cause green will fade decent. Tan, I mean, we have green
Are
buttons.
they gonna fade?
Do you want this thing to get attention, or do you want it
tan.
to be like faded into the background?
I was gonna say, is it
If you
gonna
make it
fade?
Because if
gray,
everything's
it's gonna
gray
be
and
like-
black, it's just gonna fade in the
It's-
background.
yeah,
So if
we
you want it
need
to get
something-
attention, you gotta throw some color at it.
That's
We
why
do.
I was thinking.
You can't just-
get
Purple
close
would
to
be
the
good.
splash pad. Be great. Something.
What about,
I
is there
know.
like, you know, I'm
Consistent
trying to
with
avoid the
these
darker
different
colors,
colors.
just because that absorbs that heat. You know, and you're looking at the different colors, and I'm gonna, and
Village logo colors.
well, I'm looking at that spring green there, next
Yeah.
to the purple.
Yeah.
I look at that, looks amazing with black. That is a lighter-ish color. It's green, which is in that logo, right?
Green
That's-
and,
there's the
green and
wrong
yellow.
Matches splash pad
I think you should match the splash pad.
And I
It's the
like,
same.
I like that, it's the second row down, about in the middle, but that's me. This
It'll
is-
fade nice.
It would fade nice, and it matches, I mean, it looks nice with black,
But
but,
again, we're not gonna have those, they're gonna have to be replaced
Yeah.
eventually. They're not, it's like, the shades aren't permanent.
Yeah, I thought it was like
well, I mean, look at the logo
Yeah,
here.
I would say-
Look at
I would
this,
say 10
Sergeant
years.
Barr's got the logo right here, and it
Yeah,
says,
there you
good
go.
not,
Green
Chief
and
Bar,
yellow.
good God, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna say
Green
that
and
forever and ever
yellow.
and
You
ever.
could do one green, one yellow, and one
one
blue
color.
to match
Here, Brian,
that.
colors.
There you go, see?
Look at the colors
Yellow.
right there.
That's
See?
green, yellow, and blue. Yeah.
What would we have done?
Yes, so would you
Just
model
want
that?
yellow.
That's a
All the same.
little spin.
Do a
Everyone
spin.
close your eyes.
I would do
Imagine.
I would suggest, I don't feel super strongly about it, I'm just saying that if you wanted to draw some attention, you're spending a significant amount of money on something that's, you know, it's limited use, it'll get some use, but, if you want people to notice it, then I would not go all grays and blacks.
No.
I mean, I would, you know, I wouldn't say make it look like a 6-year-old did it with every color under the rainbow, but, you know, but pick some consistent color scheme and go with some lighter colors. Graffiti is graffiti, people do that, you can't stop that.
Blue tape.
So, but that's my 2 cents. As far as like what it really looks, I don't have any strong feelings anyway. I'm just saying that if you wanna spend this much money on doing this, but you should probably make it so people are gonna notice it.
Well, and if that's our village colors on our logo, that makes sense to use something that is already associated with the village.
And honestly, you guys saying that if you wanna match the kind of colors on the logo, the green, yellow, blue, I can bring it back to some of our people who do this for a living all day, every day. But that's even enough guidance for us to be like, okay, these are the 3 colors that we want to incorporate here. What are your recommendations?
That's a
So-
good idea.
Yeah,
I mean,
Good idea.
that's what they
Yeah.
do.
To see a picture is definitely it.
Yeah.
and honestly, what we could probably do is on one of these markups or something like that, kind of give you a visual of it. And again, we don't want to look like we gave it to the kids in the library and just said, you know, whatever color you pick, you know, whatever. But, you know, to get it to pop, I totally agree with your statement of if you want it to draw somebody's eye to it, other than maybe just that gateway arch with a little bit of lighting on it. So, because in the daytime, you know, you're not gonna see that other than, so I do think a pop of color of some sort would be beneficial in that area.
Those were the only things that I had.
I have a question. Currently, the Memorial Square has a free little library that was made by a group in the community. And I don't see it in any of these renderings, and I think it was just that because it's just not something that hit the renderings, but are we still planning on having that down there?
It is something that we had picked up and noted. I think the goal was to remove and salvage it for the village if they wanted to relocate it. If you guys wanna keep it down there, we can find a spot in maybe some of the landscaping that would be adjacent to this. But
Maybe Ally knows. I mean, I think it gets traffic. I've seen people at the Free Little Library. Do you think that that gets traffic?
It does, but I've been told that it's in really terrible condition.
Okay.
It also becomes a garbage spot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people throw
Yeah.
I think
trash
if you're
in
gonna
it,
do
especially
one-
because it's downtown.
I
would
think
put
we'd
it
be better
elsewhere.
off to put it by the splash pad.
Yeah,
That's
so
if we're gonna put it anywhere, because
Yeah.
that's where kids are.
I was talking to Nathan about this earlier, because I was looking at that already. It says removal, but there is no placement after the fact. So we were talking about potential splash pad or by the trailhead or something that's further away from downtown. It is not a library property, so personally, whatever happens, happens. But I think it's,
It was a group that made it, didn't they? Wasn't it?
no, it's Little Free Library is a company that you can get them from. They originated in Wisconsin. But the high schoolers painted it.
Okay.
So we still had community collaboration for it.
There's 3 of them in town, right? There's one there's one
I
at
don't know.
Dairy Queen. There's
Yeah.
one there, and then there's one that is over where Mr. Kuyat lives, by that house, on the corner of Cherry Street and Main.
I
There's one
I
on
asked
my
the
neighborhood,
question just because
And there's one in your neighborhood too?
Yeah,
There's 4.
John Perry and his wife, she was teaching.
So I know there's
They won't
I
put
just
a
asked the
person in
question
it.
just because I just wouldn't want it to be forgotten.
I think
Yeah.
for these
Yeah.
plans, we'll plan on removing it, and we could always put one back in there at a later date.
If needed, okay.
Yeah, like I said, there's enough landscape areas in there, to try to soften up this field, cause obviously right now there's a lot of concrete, there's gonna be more concrete going back in for the most part, but, there is like where the flats wall is, for lack of a better, term, there will be like some stone mulch and wood mulch over there, so I mean, it's not like it's gonna be impossible to plant something or install a post or whatever, so, I think there's some options, and then it's also a little bit out of the way, instead of being right in the center of the plaza, so.
it draws the eye currently.
It does, but with that stuff, it's kinda under that tree right now, obviously that tree and whatnot is going to be removed, so,
And I have one final question.
Yep.
So, that alley ramp, what is the barrier between this area and the barrier ramp? Cause I was trying to look at the drawings, trying to figure out, is it like a wall, is it a fence, what are we using as the barrier there?
So the wall is going to remain as is, and then as of right now, we weren't going to extend anything to the east towards Nash Street. I was looking at that, actually, I was just out there looking at it, I didn't love how that is all kinda configured there, it's not ADA compliant. So there may be, in my opinion, it would probably be best to maybe extend that wall or a curbing or something like that out to basically the edge of the sidewalk. But essentially, the black railing that is out there, is what we're going to try to match right now, because right now there's kind of a fence area and then the black railing, I'll call it. We were gonna basically put that railing all the way across that top of that wall.
Okay.
So a little bit more exposure, I guess, but, I don't, to actually extend that wall is gonna be extremely expensive and much more disturbance and whatnot. And you're looking at possibly shutting down that ramp and whatnot. So it gets into a whole can of worms, but I think that there could be a little bit easier solution. Like I said, maybe some curbing, maybe just like a raised, like, median type thing that isn't actually a wall, but then we could still mount a railing and get it all the way out to kind of where the sidewalk would be.
Like right through in front of that, so.
It would make it better for, like, the ADA compliance, that was always, yeah.
Because right now, what we're showing basically right where you're talking, where that wall stops, is we have 3 bike racks right there. So, I think flattening that out, and then that gives us a little bit more workability with that area, but obviously we're gonna have to match into that sidewalk, and that ramp at some point, so.
Any other questions? good, Aaron?
Dan, was there anything else that you could think of that we needed the board's input on? That's all I had.
I think there's a couple questions for you about water and electrical
Yeah,
service
I got
hookup and
those.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, I guess just kind of the general overall, it doesn't sound like anybody's opposed to the layout or anything like that. I guess one thing I would note is from the concept that was originally developed, there are a few less tables. We only had, I would say, 4 tables in there. I think the original concept had like 8, and we looked at it and we're like, there's no room to move in here, and we're trying to open it up a little bit. So that was one thing that changed. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. I don't think I have any other.
Are the tables ADA?
They
Two of
are.
them?
They're
Okay.
all ADA. Well, I should say 2 of them are ADA, so they have the. 2 of them
Okay.
are 4-seaters, 2 of them are 3-seaters, so that
I see it now.
a
Thank
wheelchair
you.
could go up to the table themselves.
Gotcha, thank you.
So everything that we would do out here, unless we miss something, will be ADA compliant because that's just the way everything's designed now. So similar to like the picnic tables that have the benches that end a little bit shorter. So
Mhm.
same concept there. I don't think I have anything else. I guess the other thing that we were gonna plan on doing with the drinking fountain, is have some sort of hose spigot on there. Just whether you wanna fill a dog bowl or something like that, or if Public Works has a reason for it. The only issue with that is if somebody wants to come turn it on and leave it on, but, I mean, you have them elsewhere in places, so, I guess that'd really be the only other thing is if you guys were really against that or really concerned about hooligans getting down there messing with it. But,
Nope, if there's a problem with it, we could always take it off if we needed to.
so, other than that, or yeah, like you said, you could take the handle off and use a wrench or something, it makes it a little bit more painful, but. So, other than that, that's pretty much what I had to present to you guys. I'm, again, happy to answer any sort of questions, but as of right now, I think we're still planning on getting this thing designed, done, and ready for, the project in October, I believe, right? September, October,
Yeah,
so.
the hope is to bid this with the Main Street project. We want to have that done before the end of the year.
I think
Any other
we're well
questions?
on our way, so.
Okay, then we will move on. C, discussion and possible action on business event promotion on Facebook policy.
Just kind of curious on the board's thoughts. We've had a few people ask if we would post things or share things, for businesses, whether it's events or things they're having, promotional stuff, I don't know. So I figured I'd let you guys kind of get an opinion on it. I don't know. Because we've had nonprofits also ask about sharing different events that they were having, fundraisers, yeah, so
How would we, and I have a pretty strong opinion on this, just because I try and keep my social media feed clean, so if I see an event from a business I follow and then I see the village shared it too, you're seeing it multiple times. But I guess my question is, so I'm gonna use 2 coffee shops as an example. So you promote Donaldson's one week, and you promote the Alley Cat the next week. And then the Alley Cat has a special promotion going on for a special buy one, get one, or whatever. Now is it a tally where you owe Donaldson's? The other, and I'm using specifics because I think of coffee shop, I think of, gas stations, I think of, there's a lot of home businesses. I've seen that promoted quite a bit in a Hortonville page. I worry about the staff having to do a tally, plus I'm worried that keeping it equal and equitable, that we're sharing, giving everybody an equitable amount of social media space.
plus the amount of time to review the posts to make sure that they're appropriate and.
Yeah, and my strong opinion is, I really believe that there needs to be like a business association in our community, and I've been pushing for this. Where I think of the city of Appleton, in fact, I looked at their Facebook page today, the city of Appleton, it says government. They share government things, they share things with the Parks and Rec, they share the fire department, they share those types of things. But Appleton Downtown is an association, they promote and do the parade, they do the farmer's market, they do the Jones Park thing every Thursday. That's a promotion thing. Now, the city of Appleton may promote something that comes from that entity if there's some sort of agreement, but for the most part, a government page is for government. A business association to me is business promotion. And I grew up, my parents had a business, and I don't ever think that if I could ask them today that they would want the village to promote the meat market. That was why my dad joined the commercial club and the Lions Club. And he joined different organizations to help promote his business, and why he sponsored bowling teams, and I've got shirts that say Arndt's Market on it. But to ask the village to do it, I just think is a lot.
I totally agree.
I do too. As a business owner, I wouldn't even think.
How do you keep a
Somebody
tally?
up here has to be monitoring it all the time, and I wouldn't even expect, I wouldn't think that it would be shared,
A non-for-profit group, a good point that Nathan had brought up when I inquired about this was, okay, so if somebody does like a permit, perhaps if a permit was, and then the village now, so at that point, could there be some gray area in there where, let's say it's the civic club that's doing a community event and it's like a one-time, or the commercial club's doing the Harley raffle. There's a banner that, we offer them space in the downtown to do a banner. If that's a special event, could we agree to that, especially if it's a non-for-profit or a community group kind of thing? But that's a slippery slope. Very slippery slope.
And even that, I could say I'm going to have we love dogs. I'm gonna have a adoption event at my business.
Mm-hmm.
If I did that, then I'm still a business, and I'm still,
Yeah.
That's a really fine line, and
That was the only exception that I could come up with was, what if they're doing like a permit?
right.
Where the village, they're filling out a permit where the PD, the Public Works, administration is all doing, I think of the Harley raffle, we hang up banners, and that takes up
But we don't
village.
do special event permits for the Harley raffle because it's on private property.
Correct. But we use,
The only one we really get yearly is the Dash Down Ash.
okay,
And they do their own advertising.
They do
And the
their
only
own.
thing we do is warn people that it's happening
yeah.
because it's blocking a road.
Yeah.
Most businesses, when they have something going on, like when Alicat did the dog adoptions, they do that on their own website. If you follow it, you followed it. If you don't,
Right.
I hate seeing things 3 or 4 times, the same darn thing. Because how many people share this?
if a business wants to promote something, they'll promote something.
Right.
Let them do it, I think, and just let the village stay clean. That's gonna be too much. That's just a lot of work.
I would say one addition to that is that if you have an event that is taking place on the village property, so Wolf River Bank is going to put something on at Alonso Park, right? They're gonna sponsor it, so basically it becomes a public event, because it's on public property, just like when Festival Foods lights off fireworks in New London, or I don't know who sponsors the fireworks for Dale. It's still, but that stuff goes on their page because the municipality may not be directly the sponsor of it, but it's on, they're aiding in it because they're providing the venue for it. So I would say that would probably be the only exception. And I just looked at a couple websites.
Yeah, and I
That's
looked
the
at
things that I see that,
City of
it-
Appleton, and they shared
Yeah.
about the fireworks, but they were sharing specifically the one about how to get in and out of Memorial Park. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, okay, so they're promoting the
But-
event,
yeah.
but then they were showing how to safely get in and out of the parking lot. It's such a, I believe, I believe small business is amazing in our community, and I think we have a lot of room for growth in the community. But I really believe that there should be some kind of association, and I think that would alleviate that request for the promotion, because I think that association could do that self-promotion.
Do you need a vote on it, or just a head nod?
Well,
I think that we all agreed not to go ahead with the village promoting. Okay, we'll go to D, discussion and possible action on budget amendment resolution R-13-25 for construction project on John Fountain Court and Veterans Memorial.
so, I'm just trying to find it here, there it is. So, the Veterans Memorial's already completed, basically this is just adding in the actual project. We had it approved last year, we didn't know timeline if it was gonna be done last year. By the time we, had the budget, it was obviously pushed into the next year. So, we added in the reserve funds in order to pay for that, cause that's how it was gonna be paid for, out of the Veterans Park Reserve Funds. So that's the 7,000 being added in, and expensed out. 7,920 was the total cost, and that project is complete. The cemetery, to pay for the stormwater, portion of the Fountain Court, we're using some of the stormwater funds, and we're increasing them basically from some of the cemetery care services. The reason we're reducing down the cemetery care services is because this is actually being done now by our staff for the cutting of the lawn. The contractor was not able to do our mowing, is my understanding, this year, so our guys are taking that on, so we will not need the amount that we had in there for the lawn care. So we shifted that down to help with some of the storm sewer contractual amounts. And then there was some more restricted funds used from the stormwater reserve fund as well, which was around 30,000.
Any questions? Otherwise, we would need a motion.
I will make a motion to approve R-13-25, the 2025 budget amendment, EA 1-25.
Second.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. E, discussion and possible action on loan for stormwater upgrade.
This is the loan that we're gonna take out, through TID 3 to pay for the, upgrade to the storm sewer that we had with Terrace Manor. When we redid Grandview Road, they basically didn't know what they wanted to do with the stormwater, so we put it through that parcel. With the Terrace Manor construction, we had to pay for the upgrade to handle the water from basically that road. So this is to help pay for that. The TID is gonna be covering the cost. It's spread over, I think, 7 years. The only difference between this and, the date is gonna be different. It's gonna be on the 21st rather than the 18th, for the date of the actual, promissory note to be paid. So, that's the only change in the paperwork here.
And that's $71,360, right? If I understand that correctly?
Yeah, $71,360, yeah, at 5.5%.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the, loan for stormwater upgrade at 5.5% in the amount of $71,360 with
Second.
Hope River Bank.
A second.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. F, discussion and possible action on certification for payment number 2, Mueller Electric for the Alonzo generator.
So this is the second pay app basically, the project's basically finished. We're gonna hold about 2,000 in retainage just because we have a little bit of site demo to finish up. But the new generator's in, that will, during a power outage, control the well as well as the lift station across the street by Quick Trip.
Any questions?
What's
Otherwise,
the
we
amount?
need a motion.
The amount.
47,878.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment to Mueller Electric LLC in the amount of $47,874.
78.
78.
I'll second it.
47,878.
Roll call, Jim,
Is there a second?
Julie,
Aye.
Hi.
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. G, discussion and possible action on stormwater pond maintenance.
So, as we've been putting these new subdivisions in and accepting them, we also then accept maintenance on the stormwater ponds that are required by the DNR when these are put in. We found that they're become, the way that they were spec'd when they were built is problematic because they basically become very weed infested and full of nuisance species. So we're trying to get some different ideas and different consultants in to look at it, and basically we had a really hard time because nobody wants to touch them. They're really hard because they're at steep angles, and they've gotten to the point of where they're really weed infested. So we got Vandahay to give us some prices on just trying to start them over and get them to turf, and then had Mergent look at what it would cost to make them more naturalized. So to get rid of the weed species, but to have them where they're planted in native grasses and wildflowers so that we don't have this problem of mowing and different things like that. All of which were a lot more expensive than we have in the current budget. My recommendation would be to go with the Area 3 on Warner Street, which is by the bank with Mergent, and those funds would come out of the TID for that, and to kind of use that as an example to see what some of these other ones can be, and then try to figure out a way to try to budget for to attack some of these other ones. And in the meantime, we're gonna start our crews just trying to mow down the annuals as they come up. Because those weed species, a lot of them, if you can mow them before they go to seed, then they won't come back the next year. The problem is the seed bank has hundreds of thousands of weed species in them that will come up again, and then you knock them down again. But just to try to tackle maybe one or two of these a year every year, once you get some native vegetation established, then that crowds out the weed species, and you really have to do just really like annual maintenance. If you look at like year 4 on this would be less than half of what you start with, and some of them it's a tenth of what you start with once you kind of get those under control. But it's something that we're also looking at for future projects, is kind of requesting changes to the spec of how they're originally installed so that we don't have this problem in the future. But it's gonna be a constant battle, and we're gonna see it more and more as we continue to have new subdivisions going that are all required to have these stormwater ponds now.
And I think any stormwater pond that you look at now is got the same problem. So there's gotta be somebody.
Can you burn it? Oh, seriously.
Yeah, no, I
They
know.
get to go out there with the little, the little
Yeah.
flamethrowers they got. I mean, cause the water, it's not gonna burn the water, I mean, it's gonna burn everything right up to the edge of the water.
And I think
There are,
that's part of the recommendations for some of these. But then you still have to come back and either replant it or reseed it, do something, because otherwise you're gonna just have the same problem. Until you get something perennial vegetation established, there's always that crowds out the area that those weed species can take over. It's gonna be a constant problem.
Well, yeah, well, I agree, I just think it's gonna be, it would take quite a while to surpass the $87,000 in expenses to, in flammable fluids to even come close to, you know, I don't think it's the ideal solution, but I think it's,
But
yeah,
even,
definitely.
you can burn them in the spring and in the fall. It's hard to get them to burn them when they're green. But I think, that is a good maintenance tool, because again, that knocks those annuals out and then provides room if you come in and reseed it. And it does get better over time, but it's just a constant maintenance battle. And if you look at these, a lot of the pricing is a lot higher for that year one, just because of the state that we've allowed them to get in. Whereas if we can try to get on this more in the front end, we shouldn't have as much of an issue with it. And I think this Area 3 might be a good place to start, though, especially because the TID can cover it, and then see how well that's working, and if that does work, we can start applying that to some of our other areas. And then you also don't have the time and expense of having our staff have to constantly mow them.
And that's what's happening now.
That's what we just started doing now, and
And what have we done in the past? Just go and mow it every now and then, or?
well, I mean, a lot of these we're just starting to take on.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't we do some repairs on the one in Warner Street? Was
We had the
Yeah.
contractor come back and do repairs on the one in,
No, we had Warner Street done.
oh yeah, the retaining wall.
Retaining
Yeah.
wall.
I like Jim's idea of burning, but I agree with you, there needs to be something for maintenance, cause right now, burning them is not an option. But like in the fall or spring, primarily spring, really.
Well, I think the more we can have our guys kind of cut down, in the meantime, if you could get Warner Street done through this group, we can have our guys start cutting some of these other places down to try to reduce down some of those costs that.
These are so hard to cut though, they're at such a goofy angle,
That's-
and
Yeah, that's why I say burn them.
especially if you
you
got a
can't
zero
use-
turn,
You
you're,
can't use
you're
chemicals on it, cause it'll just get in the water, but if you burn it, it burns to the water line.
yeah.
It burns in between rocks, it burns, I mean, it's just gone. You see the county do it with ditches all the time, you just light it on fire.
Pulling people out, zero turns are hard around that sort of, just because then you have to get pulled out when you're stuck. Or you have the expense of a wet soaked lawnmower,
And they're all fenced in.
right? Are they fenced?
No,
No.
No, okay. I didn't think so.
So you're looking for a motion?
So just to do the Warner Street one, is that the,
Area 3.
Area 3, is that the 15,675? I can make a motion to approve area number 3 at 110 Warner Street, with, what is this company?
Mergent?
Emergent, in the amount of $15,675.
I'll second.
Roll call, Jim?
Right.
Hey. Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. H, discussion and possible action on parking change request for 2025 Harley raffle.
Just the same thing every year we do, yeah, but
Okay.
I just need need a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to, for Thursday, August 14th, for Main Street to be set aside for motorcycle parking for bike night. It doesn't list a time. I think I ask this every year.
No.
No, and every year I ask the same darn thing. Is there a certain time, especially for businesses, to tell them that there's,
I think, well, the hard thing is I think we put up our staff puts it up in the morning, so it's pretty much all day.
You'll send the Oak Street stuff too.
Right.
Second paragraph.
okay, and then there's, yeah, the Oak Street on, but that one's on the actual 16th, correct?
Yes.
On the day of the event.
Yep.
So, to request that Oak Street in front of the commercial club park be set aside for handicap parking on Saturday, August 16th.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I, discussion and possible action on Alonzo Park closure, 8 to 10 a.m., August 16th.
So we were made aware that one of the companies that makes playground equipment has chosen the new playground at Alonzo Park as what they would like to do for a photo shoot for their new catalog. In order to do so, they asked that the park be closed to the public while they do the photo shoot. And then we told them that we could provide them with some children to use for the photo shoot.
Bring the chair.
Yeah, bounce them up, they have to sign waivers and everything like that, but, yeah, I don't know, I think it's kind of a cool thing, they were impressed by the uniqueness of the new playground that we put in, and they want to show it off in one of their catalogs. But we would need the board actually close the park for those 2 hours while we do it.
I'm confused though. So, it has on here, kids arrive around 3 or 4 p.m., but this is between 8 and 10 a.m.
So, there was another communication that I didn't put in here that I had with them, that we
Okay.
requested that it be done in the morning,
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
rather than trying to kick people out of the park and.
Do it right away in the morning, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it before the park opens and just open it up when we're done.
Okay.
I would need a motion. I'll make a motion to allow Alonzo Park to be closed on August 6th from 8 to 10 a.m.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. J, discussion on potential creation of alley 1 to a one-way alley.
This is something that's kind of been kicked around a few times, in staff conversations and something with the business owners down there, but this is very initial discussion. If we do wanna move forward with it, I still would write a letter to the board, to the, members in that area, to the properties adjacent, and try to get some feedback from them and their thoughts on us doing something like this. And then we would probably bring it to a different meeting, which they would be invited to as well, so,
So, do you have to do the whole alley? Because with the post office being on a one-way street anyway, you've gotta kind of, go around quite a ways to get there now. If you do that, make it one way, you're kinda cutting that off for people. I mean, I use that alley all the time. I've never used the one by Bethlehem because I always assumed it was one way because of the way the cars park. I just figured it's stupid to try and drive a car the opposite way down there. But, I mean, that one behind, I see people use it all day long. That smaller one.
no, I know, some of the business owners over there are the ones that kind of also brought it up as well, was why it kind of made sense. It's really small, narrow.
Really?
I mean, granted, it's an alleyway, but it's narrower.
So they want it to be one way?
Yeah,
Really?
the ones I talked to, which was only one that I remember, recently that talked about it, and she's brought it up a few different times. I don't know what the others would say, or what people's feelings would be about it.
I only say it because I'm one of those people on the street, on my street, we don't get our mail delivered, so we
Right.
have to go to the post office all the freaking time.
Right.
I mean, all the time. So it's a pain. You gotta go around all the time, but, I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
So what's the motivation to try to go one way on this, other than it's narrow?
Safety, we've had a few times of accidents of people running into the stop sign by Bethlehem. It's broken down a few.
Well, and if
different-
cars are
that
parked
would be-
there, you lose visual completely.
Right.
Can't you just
Pulling
make
out.
that part one way? I mean, it makes sense to be one way, the cars are parked a certain direction anyway, so why wouldn't it just be one way? I
mean,
just always
you-
assumed it was.
Technically, you guys could do whatever you want. I don't, like, have.
Cause that part is very narrow.
Right.
And that's where everybody's running with the stop sign.
Yeah.
So, again, I've got a pretty good vantage point there. And have provided at least a dozen or more videos of the stop sign and even the building getting smashed into. That was a fun night. You were there?
I was there.
There, well, we have
It
the
happened
video
twice,
of it.
actually.
It's actually pretty loud.
Yep.
I agree that the safety, when you think of one way, I don't think you're gonna get compliance. And I think what's gonna happen, especially after bar time, you are still gonna get people that are gonna drive the wrong way. And if we designate it as one way, it's assumed when you turn down there, everyone's going one way. But I don't think we're gonna get full compliance, especially after bar time. For people, I think people are still gonna drive easterly. And that's just my opinion, but most of the time I get a text or something, Julie, do you have footage of the stop sign that was hit last night? And you watch the person waddle out of the business, and you just know, and you watch them, they hit it, and yes, I'd love to get rid of that stop sign because it's been hit, a whole bunch of times. But sometimes it's because they're pulling into that side of the lanes there, and then they turn, and then they wanna take a left to go towards the north. I just don't think you're gonna get people that are going to obey it,
Yeah.
and that's just my opinion, but what do you feel, chief? I mean,
I can say when you pull out of that alleyway going eastbound, the visibility is a real issue there too because of Bethlehem, and then if people park along that west side of Nash Street in front of the lanes there, it's really difficult
It
to
is.
see, and we have accidents there. I would say, yeah, that stop sign's been through a lot in its lifetime.
yeah.
I get the recommendation, especially in that block area. I think those folks that you're seeing, most of them typically are parked in that Pine Street parking lot that after will leave and then go out
Yeah,
eastbound.
they park to the west of the lanes behind the funeral home, and then that's when they turn out of there to go towards the north. And that's where I'm worried that, like, if I know it's a one-way and I see a one-way sign, I'm gonna assume there's no traffic coming at me, but somebody visibility-wise can't see me, and then they pull out of it. This is a lot of the accidents too.
But
You don't get
then it
calls
would
on
put
all
it
the
on them
accidents.
For being in the wrong.
Correct.
Where right now, if you get in an accident, they're going on the same, it's kind of on both of you.
I just worry about confusion.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I worry about.
I was just in Appleton by the Fox Commons last week, and it's one way when you go out. I didn't even pay attention, I just went the wrong way. So, I was fine, but that's on me, because I didn't pay attention to the sign that said one way and go under the drive-through and all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
So that's really on them, if they don't do it.
It's totally on them. It's just.
And then if they have an accident, then it's really on them, and then it's not, our due diligence was that it is a one-way.
Yeah, we really have to increase signage at that corner of like Pine and the alley, and then, as you're coming, if we just shut off that one block, that was discussed, it just depends on what you wanna do, but yeah, there's gonna be people that violate it.
I like to
When
read just
people
that
come
one
down the-
block.
People come down the wrong way on Pine still,
Yeah,
all the
it's been
time,
that way
yeah.
for,
So, Is
Yeah.
that lot a private lot behind the funeral home? Like, because that's
I
where
think
a
it
lot of
is.
people park back
Yeah,
there.
I
It
think
is.
it's that how, or the, yeah.
Funeral
yeah, it
home's
is,
property.
Yes.
But there's a lot of people that park back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think nobody's really ever complained about it, but I think they are parking when the business gets,
And that's where they go to, like, if they wanna pull away, during the daylight hours, it's
Sure.
really bad because then you can't see headlights.
Right.
We've
You
seen a
know,
lot of close calls.
You also have the parking right in front of the lanes on the, between the sidewalk and the building itself. And then
Yeah.
that makes it very troublesome to get back out of there if you make that one way. I mean, because then that means you have to back into Nash Street. You have to back into the oncoming traffic on Nash Street if you're gonna back out and then you're gonna back out and then go down the alleyway to get out of there.
How much is a spring-loaded stop sign? No, do they make that? Do they make something where if
You
it's
make
hit?
mailboxes that do it.
We make those like those pylon or the crossing, the pedestrian crossing ones.
It
that
sounds
get hit all
funny,
the
but
time.
this is a real question.
How much are those concrete pylons that you put, and you just put the sign in it?
Oh, they get hit. Some of them
Well,
is
yeah.
in real dandies.
Yeah, but it would damage their car, not the
Right.
stop
Yeah.
sign.
They'll drive away anyway.
Try to.
Then
So
that's
are there a
their
lot of
problem.
accidents there other than hitting the sign?
I mean, I wouldn't call it a lot. I mean, I think we have
More than-
accident, yeah. I
more
mean,
than-
more
more
than
than-
an average intersection for sure, because like I said, you have that visibility issue when you do pull onto Nash. And part of that is people park up on that kind of sidewalk area right by the lanes, then also park on the street there. So there's like a double reduced
Yeah.
visibility pulling out of there that way, and Bethlehem's pretty close to that corner there, when you pull out, so, yeah, I think the one that we probably see, well, more recently is when people are parked angled, and that's where the stop sign gets hit all the time, is
They back on
people
that first
pull out of
stall.
that, yes,
That
they pull out of
first
the first stall, and they
they
hit the
back into that
stop
stop
sign.
sign.
Drive on the sidewalk a little bit and they pull away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I would say, yeah, it's not like we're down there frequently or all the time, but it is a kind of a weird intersection there, because it's kind of tight. And then I think people too, it's hard if you're on Nash Street and you do want to go, the one way that you're proposing, if somebody's kind of sitting back there waiting to get on Nash, to see people pull in there all the time and not realize that somebody was sitting there waiting, and then it's all school traffic also, right? Because school
Yeah.
traffic, you would get backed up at the stoplights. That's not quite as big of an issue as it used to be, but that used to be a major problem at the end of the day, because traffic would be backed up to that intersection, and now people are trying to get in and out of there too. But I think the four ways have actually helped that issue a little bit.
Well, I definitely think that's something I should utilize the village's Facebook account to say that it's been proposed, just to see what kind of feedback you get. Because it's one of those things that's been there. It's one of those things that's been there forever, right? Because otherwise you're gonna get it after.
Post that one.
Because you're gonna get it after.
That can come from the admin
Did you see
office.
the theme?
That's a
Yes.
I'm telling you, it's been there forever. That's why I asked the question if there's any other accidents.
Yeah.
Should
People
do a
running down
voting.
stop sign, okay, well, you don't go after, you don't go change it for everybody because there's a couple of people who run down the stop signs, well, yeah, it is what, we have the complaints about the four-way stop, because people don't know how to do four-way stops, and we're not gonna pay to put the stoplights back in there. It's just gonna be a four-way stop, and people are gonna have to learn how to do a four-way stop, or they're gonna get into an accident or get a ticket, right? You don't punish everybody else or change it for everybody else because you have a couple of people that make an issue. Now, I guarantee it's gonna be one of those things where they're gonna be like, well, it's been there for, 80 years. And the first question that somebody's gonna throw to me is, do we have any accidents that warrant us changing the road? It's not, and if I tell them, well, people kept hitting the stop sign, that's just not gonna cut it. I'm not completely opposed to it. I don't like one-ways. I literally hate one-way traffic. I hate because you're going along one way, and even, I agree with you, it only should be one block, but the worst thing as a driver is going down to one way, and then all of a sudden you're going, and it's no longer one way. And you're like, yeah, this block is one way, and the next block is you got traffic coming at you. You have no idea what the hell's going on. Or you're driving the other direction, and then all of a sudden now you can't go any further. So I'm not a huge fan of one-ways. I think they make traffic confusing. I think, and I think it's been that way for a long time. So if we're gonna change it, we better have a reason.
Primarily most of the vehicles that have hit the stop sign have been larger vehicles, pickup trucks, Suburbans, So, okay, what if those first couple of parking
Compact
stalls.
cars only.
Compact cars only or something, but then you'd have to enforce it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was also thinking like that stop sign's in like a weird, it's like it's like on an island out there.
It is.
And I think that's part of it is like usually when it's like separated from the building, right? It's not tight.
Well, I've even seen the
So
stop
it's
sign
like, it's
was
just in a,
carried and put
it's
on a
like,
party
I was gonna
bus.
say,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can even see it, but it's kind of like, it's just in a weird spot there. That's what I was wondering, like, is it a placement issue of that? I don't,
I've
but
even
that doesn't
yeah.
fix the lane width issue. I mean,
No.
I don't.
Put the stop sign on the other side.
The problem is that people that actually pulled the stop sign, I watched it go on a party bus one night. Cause it was
Oh.
missing, and it wasn't hit, somebody carried it onto the party bus.
Is that,
That is not a joke.
You have by your house,
Do you wanna come sit on my front lawn?
Is it illegal to put it
maybe
on
it
the other
wasn't fixed
side?
at that time.
I
I think
don't
it's
know.
fixed now.
Is it illegal to put it on the left side instead of the right side?
but they won't.
The stop
Oh.
sign?
I don't know. I think it's got, I think it would have to be on the lane side, but I'm wondering even like,
What's the
which
difference
sounds
between-
silly, but like if it
between
went on
an
the side of the
alleyway and a
building,
street for us?
but then it's
Legal.
right, they got that weird like sidewalk thing there. That's
Yeah.
what creates the issue, you know, there's like that.
It's
like
weird,
a
it's in a weird
15-foot
spot.
sidewalk.
So it's because of bowling alley people park on the sidewalk.
Well,
It's not really a
it's-
sidewalk.
That's the thing is, it's not the sidewalk,
It's
that's
private
his
property,
property,
right.
It's the
but it's like
line.
that weird, it's just the way the building laid out with where the property was and then the add-on sidewalk and.
And what if we did something with those first couple of parking stalls?
Who owns those parking lots? Do we?
Well, that's
The
village
building?
parking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Omit 'em.
Well, and I hate to take away parking, but I think,
It's the first one.
I would say 90% of the people that have hit the stop sign have come out of those first two stalls.
And backing into it.
You can make it ATV/motorcycle/compact car.
Compact,
Yeah.
something like,
Yeah, that's
you know,
what
where
you'd
you're
have
still
to do.
giving the parking space, but it's not, it would, I think eliminating the bigger vehicles in those first couple of stalls, I think would be a place to start.
Make
No-
it ATV
no
parking,
trucks.
everybody would love that, they'd be like, hey, we got our own parking spot. Don't,
Just
I
like
agree with you, don't
motorcycle.
get rid of parking.
Just like motorcycles.
And you would
They're
know
like
in an
parking
ATV that you
spot.
hit a stop sign.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you hit it with
I don't know.
ATV, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, usually that is what, just because of the length of vehicles, the larger vehicles
And
pull
they
out of
don't
there,
know.
and like I said, it's in a weird spot. So it gets hit.
It gets hit because people are backing into it. It doesn't get hit because somebody turned the corner too tight. It literally always gets hit the same way.
Yeah, and like you said, there's visibility coming out of there, but it's not something we're at frequently. I mean, there's been accidents there. But, like you said, when we go back to the stoplight issue and the traffic backup there, a lot of those accidents on Nash from the alley, you know, up to, you know, Cedar have been resolved with the stoplights.
And I think the last larger accident was somebody that pulled out of behind the funeral home, and then she just ran the stop sign
Correct.
and smashed into him, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then they leave, then they don't stick around. So, I think if we did something with those first couple of stalls, I think that would be maybe a temporary. I'm not opposed to one way eventually, but I think it's something to try.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have it. I was just bringing it to you guys.
But it might help with the visibility too, that if you're at that stop sign and you're wanting to take a left, Bethlehem is close there, but at least if you didn't have another vehicle, a larger vehicle, I should say, parked
Right.
in that first or second stall, I think that would
I
help.
think you'd have to do cool, too.
Yeah.
Well, we could just make it ATV parking and go from there and see what happens.
ATV or cycle parking? What do you, I mean,
Mhm.
Okay.
can we do that? Do we need a motion? What do we do?
Can't do a motion, it's
No, it's
discussion only.
discussion only, okay.
No, staff can do that, it's in our parking lots. There's no ordinance that would have to change.
So it's not a no for now, Nathan, it's just a,
I
let's,
don't have a preference, I just said I'd bring it up to the board.
Okay.
Okay. Then we'll move to 10, report of village officials. A, clerk treasurer, and Jane's report is in the packet. B, director of public works, Aaron.
My report is in the packet.
I have a question for Aaron. Hopefully this is an easy one. Do we have the timeline of the different sections of highway, like how this is going through on Main Street?
Didn't you get my email?
Yeah, but is it specifically,
I think the last board meeting, Jim requested, I sent it out to all board members of the timeline.
okay, then maybe so was it a special email that wasn't part of your regular?
No, it was after the last board meeting, I think that Friday I did an email out.
Okay, then my apologies, I probably
No,
just
it's fine, I
completely
just
missed it.
didn't know if sometimes I might miss someone's email, so I hope I did.
I will look, and if I don't have it, I'll look at it. Thank you.
I had, two concerns that were brought up by a resident, concerning the splash pad playground area. One was, goose poop on the sidewalks. This particular neighbor hadn't been down there yet, but they went down there recently with, their two sons, and that was one thing that they brought up, wondering if there's something that could be done
So-
with that.
We're trying to get out there in the mornings and spray everything off. We had some problems with with the hydraulics with the sprayer that we had, so there was a couple days that I could miss. But usually most mornings before the park opens, they try to get everything sprayed off as best they can. And to be honest, I thought it was gonna be a lot worse. I think with all the commotion down there, they seem to
They've moved,
move over to
they've
Veterans Park.
moved behind bricks.
Yeah.
And
And
I was telling you, they had moved behind bricks, there's like 2,000 geese over there every day. So,
Somebody was telling me that if you want, they're really easy
don't
to,
take it.
redirect. They said, they had an issue in their park, and it was at the, splash pad, somebody was talking to me about it. And they said all they did was they put in little posts, right, and they put, like a fluorescent, colored, nylon line, and he said, it was just along the, a couple feet off of the waterway, cause that's where they come up from. And he said all it took was, it was like 10 inches off of the ground, and it was like a fluorescent green, and they just ran the little posts, and they just ran the wire, and it just kept, so then they just went the other direction. It says really easy to redirect these, because they're coming in from the water, and it takes very little to make them go the other way.
So we could try.
I'm sorry, I completely meant to, you told me that, and I meant to come talk to you about that, and I was like, well, it's a pretty inexpensive solution to, get them to go in the other direction.
And I didn't know if it was something that was brought up before or not, but this was just one of the,
Yeah, it was something that we knew was gonna be an issue when we built it, and they did kinda try to strategically place plantings and stuff like that to make it harder, or less appealing for them to come in. But, yeah, it's something that we try to take care of every morning.
and then the only other thing that they had mentioned is the swings are low for a 4 and a 7-year-old. I know they're two different heights, but even for these two boys, they were
Oh, still?
odd to be known, yeah.
Okay,
4 and-
because they were really low, and then we moved some of them up. Was this recent?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's something we can look at and make one a little bit higher or something like that.
Cause they're not self-adjusting. I mean,
No.
the homeowner, individual can do anything.
They were all really low, so we tried to bring them up a little bit and then get a kind of variety of heights. But if they're still low, we can adjust those again.
Yeah, he just brought that up, so I thought.
We'll take a look at it for sure.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to compliment the Public Works, moving those heavy cabinets out of the administration building down to the historical building. Very nice that they did that.
And they were all glass and nothing got broke.
Yeah.
That's a win.
They did a phenomenal job.
I will pass
And
that
then
on.
also the job they did in the cemetery, clearing that sumac, that was very awesome. They did a great job.
I will make sure to
Made a
pass
lot
it
of
on.
people happy.
Excellent. That's good to hear.
Anything else for Aaron? Okay, we'll go to C, Police Chief Brian.
Reports in the packet, just lots of training and events. We have National Night, August 5th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Commercial Polo as usual, so just ramping up for that. Oh yeah, I think I put it was in the packet, correct?
Yeah, it's in the packet.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was really something nice to note in the packet there. Officer Hayden with his situation of being off duty, actually works for the Mountain Ambulance as a part-time EMT, and just happened to be up in the area, see it and locate it, so that worked out very well. So just want to make sure you get some recognition
Yeah,
for
you
that.
should get
That was
recognition
awesome.
for that.
That is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Any questions for Brian? Okay, we'll move to D, Library Director, Ally.
I did not have a report in the packet. We've just been very, very, very busy. We are up to just shy of 1,200 people registered to read this summer. Last year was 1,250, so I don't think we'll hit what we had last year, but if we're getting almost 1,200 people registered to read because they want to win prizes, then I'll take it. So it's been a really great summer. It helps that we are completely fully staffed and a lot less burnout on staff. So we are sitting pretty.
Any questions for Ally? Okay, E, Attorney.
Thank you. I'll first introduce myself. So my name is Tyler Pluff. I'm one of the attorneys at Town Council Law. I've been there for about a year now. Prior to that, 6 years, I was up in Door County working for a firm up there doing municipal law and general practice. So came down to Appleton to work with Ashley for the past year. So I've been doing that on and off. For my report, I don't really have anything to add as a report. Ashley told me everything was good, so we'll keep chugging along unless you guys have any questions for me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
F, Administrator, Nathan.
My report's in the packet. I have been working with a few different developers lately on different projects. Not much more that I can say other than that. Other than that, we did have our splash pad was featured in the Appleton Monthly magazine on page 66 for their July issue that they did with a bunch of cool parks that a person liked, and they saw ours and they liked their Alonzo Park and the Black Otter Lake Park there, and wrote about both of those in there. And yeah, so hopefully that'll bring us some more publicity.
Any questions for Nathan? Okay, we're going to G, Building Permit Report. It is in the packet. H, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussions?
I just have one, and I'm not even sure if, and I'll do some research on this, but I'll probably contact Nathan too. I know when I've gone to school board meetings, you fill out a paper that if you wanna speak, and then you write on there, but then they hand you like a half sheet that gives the protocol and like I don't know, just like how it works, cause I know some people come here and they don't know what's going on, or they don't understand that we can't speak to them. But also just to understand the protocol and what's appropriate and what would maybe be inappropriate to do if you're speaking to the board. So maybe just a discussion on maybe creating something that we can put out for.
It is on the agenda. It is on the agenda under pre-registered citizens. It says we cannot discuss it.
Correct, but I think there's more to it. I'm talking like if somebody came, and I just wanna make sure that people understand what, like when we're at the school board meeting, there's a little bit too about protocol and that sort of thing, but I think there's, some, without getting into the discussion, just what would be appropriate way to address the board, or if you have packets to hand out or something, instead of, yeah. I don't know how to word it. I did talk to you briefly about it yesterday, but I think getting something from the school might give us just some direction, but just, so if somebody comes and they wanna speak to the board, are they speaking here, are they speaking there, are they allowed to, come up to the board members, are they, I just would like just some guidelines.
So it's something you want to.
I don't know, I don't even know if it's a board thing or if it,
I mean, that's something we could just do internally, and then if you guys want, we can tweak it.
just show, I don't know. I don't know the best way to do it. I just would hate for somebody in the community to come and if they wanted to give us something, or how do you give the board things? How do you approach the board? Do you come up and stand here and speak to the board? Do you stand here? Where do you go? And there's people that don't know that,
I concur.
or do know that, and they just do their own thing anyway.
We can add it to the next agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, we'll go to 11, communication and miscellaneous business. A, Black Iron Lake District News. Bob?
My handout, excuse me, my handout I handed out earlier. We had our meeting last night, so basically we're just preparing for our annual meeting, which is next month on the 27th. So we were preparing the budget, looking at that, and then we did our first sampling and sent that out to the state for the phosphorus levels and things like that to get a monitoring base basically for that. And then we'll be sending that off to our study group that's taking care of that.
They'll use that information to update the models that they're creating of the watershed and of the lake.
So other than that, questions at all?
Any questions for Bob? Okay, we'll go to B, Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District News. Jim?
So we met on the 8th of July, and we did the budgets. The fire department budget is in the packet. The EMS didn't get it to me in an electronic form in time to be able to submit it. But, fire calls are down a little bit so far this year. EMS call, they're at 47 so far for the year. EMS is about average. They're at 152. They said the assisted living up here opened up the other wing again, so they're getting more calls to come up there now. At one point they had closed down one side and they put everybody together, and but now they repopulated, I guess. The fire department purchased a new battery-operated Hamatro Jaws, sort of like a Jaws for Life spreader Jaws thing. It works underwater. They have some of the company's other equipment. It wasn't the least expensive, but it was in the middle, and their other equipment is reliable, so that was the one that they went with. They're continuing to keep the old unit that they had. That one, I think, works off of a compressor, and they have that one in Unit 23 as a backup. And they plan to try to pay for the entire cost of it with fundraising money. And if they can't, then they're going to pull some from the equipment fund that they currently have. Other than that, we talked about there was a fire on Gag Lane in Hortonia, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with that area. It's a bunch of trailer parks and buses and stuff like that are all kind of pushed together, and it's not really there's some ongoing stuff there in our neighboring municipality that is definitely an issue with fire.
Do you know when their softball tournament is? Isn't it the end of the month?
It's the same weekend as EAA.
So that's
The 26th, 25th, 26th, whatever it is, the Friday.
That would be the next week.
So
25th.
that would
Yeah.
be their next fundraiser. Any other questions for Jim? Okay, we'll go to C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News. It is in the packet. D, Hortonville Civic Association, Jane?
The circus was successful, however, the second show got torrentially rained out. And they will come back in 2 years. Next year, we're working on starting to plan an event for 4th of July.
Thank you for that event, my kids loved it.
You're welcome.
It was nice.
It was.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move to E, Senior Activities, and the report is in the packet. Do you have anything else to add, Jane?
I don't, unfortunately, I was on vacation, not unfortunately, I was on vacation fortunately and had to miss the meeting.
Okay. 12, comments and suggestions from citizens present. Okay, 13, I would need a motion to appoint a minute taker for closed session.
I'll make a motion to appoint Shauna.
I'll second.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 14, I would need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session under state statute 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. 15, 5-minute recess to clear the meeting room. 18, any action on matters discussed in closed session? There is none. 19, I would need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now adjourned at 7:47.